Good morning and welcome to this edition of Hikelowpedia. Today I'm going to introduce an experience which I think is the #1 must-do for anyone that visits Taiwan. No, I'm not talking about stuffing yourself to the point of bursting at a night market. I'm actually talking about climbing to the summit of Jade Mountain, or Yushan, Taiwan's highest point, which sits at just under 4,000 meters or 13,000 feet. Now I know I'm biased as a frequent hiker, but climbing Jade Mountain and spending some time in Taiwan's central mountain range is an experience that you will never forget. It is so different from the parts of Taiwan that most tourists frequent that I like to say that it's pretty much like a different country altogether. So that is why I highly recommend that you visit, and also why I've put together this quick how-to guide on what I promise will be an amazing, never to forget experience that will definitely be the highlight of your trip to Taiwan. Right, so now you've decided you want to climb Jade Mountain, the first thing you need to do is make a booking in the online system. It may seem daunting at first, but don't worry, as it's pretty easy to use and the English is also pretty decent. As I said in the introduction, hiking Yushan is extremely popular, but Paiyun Lodge, where you will stay, only has 116 beds. This makes it extremely difficult to reserve a spot, with weekends especially popular. One time I tried to book a space at a weekend and there were more than 1,000 people vying for the beds. Needless to say, I didn't get one on that occasion. To solve this demand for spaces, there is a lucky draw system in place, but as the name suggests, whether you get a bed or not is very much a lottery. The alternative is to go during the week when there is much less competition for the spaces. You need to apply 1 month before the date of your intended stay. And unless there are huge numbers waiting, the system works on a first come, first served basis. Luckily for overseas travellers, Yushan Main Peak Trail has a special foreign visitor scheme where 24 beds are reserved for overseas visitors, and these can be booked between 35 days and 4 months in advance. But please note, these spots are only available from Sunday to Thursday and weekends are not included. Now the system does look a bit daunting at first, but with a little bit of practice you'll soon be navigating your way around it with no trouble. Once on the web page, you choose Online Application and then Yushan National Park. Then quickly read through all the regulations and check the appropriate boxes. Once that is done, you enter the booking system proper. Fill in your route info. There's only one option if you're doing it as a foreign traveller, and then complete all the information about your group. For a local emergency contact, it is suggested that you provide the number of your hotel if you don't know anybody locally. Once you're done, hit submit, and then a short while later you'll receive a confirmation email. Make a note of your application number as you'll need it if you want to adjust or cancel your plans at a later date. You'll also need it to print out your park permit and your mountain permit nearer to the date of travel. Once your lodging is finalised, now you need to think about food. Both Yushan and Xueshan, or Snow Mountain, the second tallest mountain in Taiwan, have services that provide food at the lodges. It's pretty convenient, especially if you can't be bothered to carry a stove and all your supplies up the mountain, which may be the case if you're just visiting Taiwan for a short time. Now these services also rent sleeping bags. All you need to do is go to the website, I'll put the address in the description below, download the order form and choose your meal. There is a Google Translate facility on the page that enables you to switch it to English. If you're doing this from inside Taiwan, you can wire the money via bank transfer. Guests travelling from overseas can pay upon arrival at the lodge. But do be warned, the food is very traditional Taiwanese food, and some overseas visitors might not be too keen on it. So you need to think about before you decide whether to order or not. Now, if you're worried about altitude sickness, and this is a legitimate concern, it may be a good idea to spend a night either in Yushan or Sun Moon Lake to help your body adjust to the altitude. The added bonus when you spend a night at Yushan is that you can wake up to views like this. Pretty sweet, huh? Transportation wise, having your own vehicle is the best option. If you're going by public transport, there's only one option, the bus 6739. It only has 2 services per day, leaving early from Sun Moon Lake in the morning to Yushan and then returning from Yushan to Sun Moon Lake in the afternoon. So if you're planning to travel on the bus, then you need to plan carefully. I'll put the information and the bus schedules in the description below. Now, once you've planned your lodging and your food and your transport, the final thing you need to do is pack. Now, covering all you'll need to take on the trip to Yushan is quite long-winded, so I'm planning to do a separate packing video next week, and I'll put the link to it here when it's ready, so keep an eye out for that. When your gear's already unpacked, it's time to make your way to Tatajia in Nantou County. Then when you've arrived safely at Tatajia car park, which you can see behind me, it's time to get your stuff in your backpack and head over to the office. Then when you get to the office, you need to put your mountain permit in the box outside the police station, or if you're an idiot like me and forgot to apply for it, you go in there and you can apply for it on the spot. Then you have to get your other documents, your park permit, checked in this building. Then when you're done, there's a shuttle bus to the trailhead. It's $100 per person, and ours is about to leave, so gotta go. Then it's about 5 minutes or 3 or 4 kilometers on the bus, and it will drop you off here at the trailhead. Then finally, it's time to start walking. Despite being Taiwan's highest mountain, the Yushan Trail, in my humble opinion, is pretty easy. The trailhead at Tatajia lies at 2,600 meters above sea level. From there, it's a gradual climb over 8.5 kilometers up to Paiyun Lodge at 3,400 meters. This should take between 4 and 5 hours at a reasonable pace. After the first roughly 2 kilometers, you'll come to Monroe Pavilion, which was built in memory of an American guy who died here many years ago when the trail was much more difficult. And then just past there, if you do forget to go just before you leave, then don't worry, there is a WC just off the trail past the Monroe Pavilion. As well as the main peak, there are several other peaks you can climb in Jade Mountain, and if you're feeling energetic, you can add them on to your route. So right now I'm about halfway up to the front peak, or Qianfeng, which is on the way to Paiyun cabin. Now the front peak, it's only 800 meter detour from the main trail, but it's quite steep and you're climbing up quite a big rock fall, which could be hazardous if somebody disturbs the rocks above you, so you need to be careful. But it's fun, but it's a bit of a challenge if you're not too skilled, if you're a beginner. I made it to the front peak, and you can see the main peak just there, and I think that is the south peak, Nanfeng. So it's got a nice view from up here. It's pretty tough though, actually, tougher than I expected. Another great place to take a break is at Whitewood Forest Viewing Platform at around the 5 km mark, as it offers great views of the Yushan Massif. Although be aware of the cheeky white-whiskered whistling thrushes, as they will try and steal your snacks if you're not careful. And we just went past a particularly beautiful section of the trail called the precipice, where there's a lot of paths cut across sheer rock faces with a steep drop on the side if you put your foot wrong. But we made it across safely, and we're heading on to the hut now. "500 meters to Paiyun." And although I know I said this is an easy trail, I'm pretty exhausted right now. I guess because the sun's been out all day. Even though it's not hot, it's very sunny, and kind of takes it out of you a bit. But almost there, yay! We made it to Paiyun. Now we have to go inside the main entrance here and show our park permit. Let's check out the scenery as well. Woo. Quite a bit of snow still on the mountains from a few days ago. It's been pretty cold up here. After you've checked into the lodge, you get assigned a bed. There's all these rooms upstairs, and our room is number 5, and we've got 2 beds. So your bed's inside, but there's also a bit of storage space outside to put your bags and stuff. It's a bit cramped in there, especially if it's full, but it's somewhere to sleep. Once you're checked in and have sorted out your bunk, you're free to enjoy the fantastic scenery if you're lucky. A beautiful sunset, and eat dinner before settling down for the night. Most people will spend the night at the lodge before heading up to the summit early the next morning. Taiwanese hiking groups like to get up extremely early, usually around 2 AM, so they can make it to the summit before sunrise. I personally do not like to do this, but if you're a light sleeper like me, then it's pretty difficult to sleep past 2 or 3 AM with the noise of around 100+ people getting up, getting ready and eating breakfast. But whatever time you decide to get up and leave, it should take you another 2 to 3 hours to cover the 2.4 kilometers or 500 meters altitude gain up to the summit at 3,952 meters. None of this is too difficult, although there are a few rocky sections near the summit, but there are chains that you can hold on to. We made it 2 hours from Paiyun, which is pretty fast, and we're here at the summit. The weather's nice and clear. It's pretty cold and windy though, but we're in a sheltered spot right here. The summit's just there. We're going to take some pictures in a minute when we've got our breath back, but yeah, it's a beautiful sea of clouds over there. After your triumphant summit shots, it's time to head back down to Paiyun and pick up the rest of your gear before heading back to the trailhead at Tataja. In the area just above Paiyun Lodge, there's some beautiful forest land just before you get past the tree line. And there's a kind of fir that grows here. This fir tree here is called the Kawakami fir, and it's got a black cone, and I believe it's the only kind in the world, and it's endemic to Taiwan. And also you've got a lot of rhododendron plants around just here rhododendron plants here. Their buds are just forming ahead of the spring when they flower. And then you've got juniper here. Those are the three main types of plants in this area, and you get the fragrance from the juniper when you're walking through the forest. The return leg from the summit can take anywhere from 5 to 7 hours depending on your speed. Okay, we finished. 21.8 kilometers return to the summit and back, and with a little detour to Yushan front peak. Yeah, it's been good. Now we're just going to take some triumphant finishing photos and then get the bus back to the car park. Okay guys, so we are back at the car parking area after our 2-day, 1-night Yushan adventure. I hope you've enjoyed this short guide on how to do Yushan. If you have, then you know what to do. Give me a like, and you can also subscribe to the channel for more similar content. And if you would like to see my videos every Saturday morning, then you can click the bell for notifications. Now I will put the maps for the hike in the description below, but I think the second day's map is a bit screwed up because there was an unexplained pause and I only found out a couple of kilometers before the end of the trail, so apologies for that. And also I'll be doing a packing video. A few of my viewers have requested it recently, so I'm going to do a packing video of this trip and kind of things you need if you're going to hike the Paiyun in Taiwan. So keep an eye out for that. It should be coming soon. In the meantime, take care. See you next week. Over and out. How do you feel? Sense of achievement?